Thank you all very much. It's more than I deserve, but I've always accepted more than I deserve. I once got lucky, very lucky. On March the 23rd, 1943, I was on a slow coach train on my way to Sweetwater, Texas, to become a WASP. They weren't WASP yet. Now the WASP, they contrived it a little. The W is women, and they made one word out of Airforce and service pilots, and my whole life changed. Anyway, it was a wonderful experience. The civil service, I was a civil service employee actually, attached to the Army. They contracted us out to be whatever the Army wanted us to do. So they sent us to Sweetwater. We already knew how to fly. Back up a little. This was wartime, and there were all sorts of programs. And one of them was about aviation. And I didn't care, but I take courses. So I took this one, and it was meteorology, navigation, theory of flight, anything pertaining to aircraft. We all took tests in taking the courses. They would last 6 to 8 weeks to a couple of nights a week. And then we took the big final, and 10 people out of this group. Well, this group was supported by the Junior Chamber of Commerce of Kansas City, Missouri. They propositioned the government. They said, if you'll buy 5 scholarships, we'll furnish 5 scholarships. So they did this on a competitive basis. At the end of this course, you took tests. The 10 high won. One of the 10 could be a girl. And when I tell this to middle schools now and see these 13 or 14-year-olds, they don't say anything, but you can see their faces change like, well, that isn't fair. But that was 1940. And anyway, through a series of circumstances, I became the winner and was on a train to Sweetwater, Texas in 1943. And the next day we were brought to the flight line, and they picked 5 here and 5 here and 5 here, an instructor here and an instructor here. Joe, you take this group. And I looked at my instructor, and he had a shock of kind of sandy hair, a big nose, and cowboy boots. And I thought, oh my God. And he was wonderful. Every pilot has an instructor somewhere back in their past that taught him everything I know. Same way with me. And so I wanted to be stationed in Dallas, Texas. I got Dallas, Texas. I wanted certain airplanes in Wichita. I always got them. I wanted twin engine. Didn't want to be left in twin engine. I'm a single engine man myself. Okay. I got all the airplanes I wanted. I got to be stationed where I wanted. I wanted to go to pursuit school. Now you call them fighters now, which is a little more fitting. I don't know what we were pursuing. Well, I know what I was pursuing, but I'm not going to tell you. And so we'd be sent to Wichita most of the time on a military airplane, size of I've forgotten which airline it was. It had bucket seats. Those who do not understand bucket seats are not going to learn it from me. What you do is get out of it as soon as possible, put your chute on the floor of the airplane, and stretch out the best way you know until you get. And then we had our orders, and a cohort of mine, and I would go in this particular hangar where they put out B-29s. I'd never seen anything so big in my life. Next to the standard airline today, it looks like a Cub. But we'd go in, we'd say, we're here for B-29s. The person behind the desk didn't even raise an eyebrow. He'd finish our work for a steerman. Does anybody know what a primary trainer steerman is? Okay. At full throttle, probably doesn't go over 100 miles an hour. Has 2 wings, fixed gear, close gear. You can ground look it pretty easily. 1. I stayed there. I did something else wrong too. I stayed there until they fixed it, and then I took it on to Dos Palos, California, and came back in a seat that I probably bumped somebody off an airline getting. We had, as I said, a B priority, and that's what we could do. We could bump people on airlines we didn't like to, but they made out the ticket, and that's the way it was. So this friend of mine, who I had phoned with a lot, I said later on, I said, "You think we bumped anybody?" She said, "Sure did. My seat was warm." And it lasted, until December 20th, 1944. When we knew ahead of time, we knew from, I think, October on, that we were going to be inactivated. That's the long way of spelling fired. By that time, we were winning the war, we had hundreds of thousands of pilots, and they didn't need us anymore, and so it was out. We didn't come in for any of the military benefits, we didn't come in for any of the goodies after the war, howsoever. If I had to make a choice of whether to take the terms as they were or wait until I got a better deal, I'd have paid them to do it if I'd had any money, which I didn't. Which I didn't have too much at the time. I think when I left the chemical company, I was making $115 a month. It was probably without any deductions. I don't think I even qualified for income tax. But as I said, we were stationed in Sweetwater, Texas, and in barracks. There were long lines of buildings that went on like that. And the way they'd have 6 girls on one side of 2 bathrooms. That is, 2 johns, 2 basins, 2 showers, and another 6 girls over here. Now you're supposed to groan and figure what 12 women are going to do with 2 fixtures each in a bathroom. For your surprise, nothing. We didn't wear as much makeup then. We wore a lot of lipstick. Lipstick was almost black. But we didn't wear eyeshadow or mascara too much. And so somebody was complaining to one of the military bigwigs. Oh, this was later on when I was in another barracks. There were rooms, bathrooms, another room, bathroom. Okay, this was a hospital. I've been a little injured. We won't go into that because I'm trying to keep this one. And the nurse was saying, "I don't know what we're going to do with this wasp." And so he said, "What's the problem?" Well, she says, "Major so-and-so is on the other side of their bathroom." Well, he said, well, she said they'd have to use the same bathroom. Hell, he says, whole families use the same bathroom. Why can't they? And, and that was, I was in this military hospital and got friendly with a little nurse that kept asking me what I did and that sort of thing. So one day, without any warning, she said to me, "Oh," she says, "some boys in here want to talk to you." Okay, yeah, fine. So I come in. Now, an Army hospital barracks is a big room, and they have 2 or 3 offices on this, and then in a narrow, almost the size of this aisle here, and then it opens up to this big one in the back with beds along. And the officers have private rooms. Okay. So I go in with the nurse, and I'm standing here in this kind of opening, and there's only 3 or 4 guys, and each one, they're not saying anything. One said, "Mike, didn't you want to talk to her?" "No, John, I thought you..." "Oh, Bill." But Sam Klein, little Jewish boy from Brooklyn, what else, New York, during the Christmas season, elected to be pigeon. And he was on 2 crutches. He came around his bed. I don't remember whatever happened to the crutches. The next thing I know, I'm enveloped in sturdy arms and being given a very satisfactory kiss. It seems that the boys, probably the Jewish boy from New York, I don't know, had gotten a hold of some mistletoe, and they sent the nurse out for a pigeon. And I was in it. So I pretty much ended my career with a very satisfactory kiss.